All right, welcome back to World History 2. We're going to start Unit 7 and go through Unit 7. It's a very short unit, really nothing complicated about it. So, when we left off, we talked about the Enlightenment, and that Enlightenment influenced the American Revolution over here, first and foremost. In England, people get more democracy and rights. Then, the United States, people are going to get some more rights and individualism, and it's going to go back to France. And eventually, the world is going to go back to Latin America. Okay, so Latin America, we're going to have some revolutions, and that's due to the fact that Spain still has a big hold over the independence and say over the people here. Of course, viceroys are the governors. Let's look at the Spanish class system really quick. If we look at their class system, it's like this. We have peninsulars, which are Spaniards born in Spain, Creoles born in the New World of Spanish parents. Mestizos are Spanish and Native American mixed. You have mulatto, which is black and American mixed, Native American Indians, and slaves. So you have a class system that is based on race and origin, where you're from and your origin, okay, or your race. So you can't move up in this world. You can't work really hard to move up and change. So that's going to create a lot of problems. And over time, this has been several hundred years since Columbus. There's not really peninsulars that are coming from the old world to the new world anymore. So it's mostly Creoles. The population's about 99%, everybody else 1% peninsulars. So there's going to be some revolutions. Catholicism has a strong influence on the country. Native Americans are kind of held back by Catholicism. They're forced to convert. And we have some major exportation of precious minerals. So all the money from here, we have mercantilism. All of it's being shipped out back to the old world. So no one's really benefiting here. They're not allowed to keep any of their money or their profits. Okay. So that kind of sets the stage for Latin America. So with Latin America, we have some port cities. Over here in Cuba, what's the capital today is Havana. And it is an outpost for colonial authority. It was the major city, and these cities are still going to be the capitals today. We have Mexico City, where the Aztecs used to live. We have Lima, which is down here in Peru, which is where the Inca used to live. We have Sao Paulo, Brazil. And then finally, we have down here in Argentina, Buenos Aires. Okay? So that sets the stage for that. So these revolutions are going to happen due to circumstance. With the Napoleonic Wars going on over here in Haiti, the French can't bring their troops in to fight. So on the island, there's going to be a guy by the name of Toussaint Louverture, and he is going to go in and start a slave rebellion. He's a slave himself. The population of the island's about 98% slave, 2% white. Okay, so it is dominated. And when you live in Haiti or the Caribbean, as a slave, your life expectancy is under a year. It's very hot. They work you harder. They don't care to kill you. It's easier to get more slaves in. They don't value you as much as they do maybe in the United States or Canada. So it's a very, very bad situation. Some of our American slaves that were so bad were threatened or actually were sent to the Caribbean to die if they were not good slaves. So that was one way slaves kind of stayed in line. So slaves in Haiti are going to actually kill pretty much every white man, woman, and child on the island, and they're going to take the island over. Napoleon, it looks bad on him with his nationalism. He wants himself to look prideful and make the French look perfect. He tries to send envoys over and fight. They defeat the French army. Then the British are going to send soldiers over because it doesn't look good for them when slaves are winning wars as well. They defeat the British. And the Spanish are going to send soldiers over as well. They also are defeated. So Toussaint Louverture, he copies George Washington very closely. And overall, when he does this, he is going to be successful. He uses guerrilla warfare tactics. He doesn't walk in a line like a European army. His ideology is I'll jump behind a rock, we'll climb out of a tree, we'll shoot, we'll run away. And it is a very successful tactic. I mean, it even works throughout Vietnam. There's not much ways to counter guerrilla warfare. Down here in Mexico, we're going to have Father Hidalgo, which is a leader of the Catholic Church. He's going to unify, and that's why there's not much race problems in Mexico. He's going to unify Native Americans. He's going to unify blacks. He's going to unify mestizos. He's going to unify mulattoes. He's going to unify Creoles, all against that 1% of the population, which is peninsulars. And they're going to be super successful. They're going to be independent and one of the first countries in the world to ban slavery. They're going to ban slavery in 1821. Britain's not far behind, but they are going to ban slavery. So, and by the time this class, we start like 1800 here with these colonies in Latin America. By 1837, all of these colonies are independent, except today modern Guyana is still controlled by the French. That's the only outlier there. One of the poorest and most dangerous countries in the world you could be in. Simon Bolivar, he is going to be another revolutionary, and he's going to do independence all of this area here and rename it Gran Colombia. Venezuela, Bolivia, all of those are going to come thanks to Simon Bolivar. And he is going to create Gran Colombia like the United States. He's going to make states out of them, but they're only going to last about 30 years. And Brazil is going to be a little bit different. With Napoleon's army, when they invade Portugal right here, they're going to run away to Portugal. Or I meant Brazil, my apologies. And they're going to actually meet the people and really like the people. They're going to give them independence. And when Napoleon's gone, they're going to move back to Portugal and just give them independence without conflict, okay? So that's going to be a little bit of a differing point of view. And what keeps Europe from coming back and taking over again? Well, Napoleon's keeping everybody busy in Europe for their time. But the United States issues the Monroe Doctrine, which is a huge document. One of the most important in American history is the United States started from a colony, and we did not like being a colony. So what we do is we strive for independence. And when we get independence, we do not want these other countries below us to have to suffer being colonies. So we say that any threat or any attack on Latin America is an attack on us. So we create an imaginary line that separates the eastern and western hemisphere. If you cross this line, you have to fight the power of the United States. At this point, it's not more than a bluff. The United States is about equal of European armies, but they definitely couldn't defeat the British Navy. It would definitely be a challenge, or the armies of Napoleon at this time. It was a bluff by James Monroe, but it does work. All of these countries will become independent, and the United States will do a little bit of influence and imperialism on them, but we don't take them over. We trade with them, and we are the sole traders. We don't allow them to come in and trade anymore. We say, hey, you guys trade with us now, we'll trade, and we start our industrialization thanks to that, because all the natural resources of Latin America. When you take U.S. history, you'll learn a little bit about dollar diplomacy. And that's something we're going to do. Any attempt to take over these colonies is an attack on the United States, and we will back that up. So that is what gets us independence quite quickly in Latin America. Okay, United States help, as well as several revolutionaries willing to die and fight to get away from European influence. So by this point, now European countries are going to turn to Africa, and they're going to turn back to Asia for their imperialism and influence. Okay. And the United States actually will be a little bit involved in that as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that next unit.